Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mike with Formula One here to help you guys get your first engineering job. Today we have Miss Gabriella. She's done a lot of awesome things, accomplished a lot of internships, big goals, big dreams. Let's get into it.
Michael Daleo.
Formula for over 4 months
Part
now.
of the Formula One community for a couple months now.
I just got my first internship.
Just landed my first internship.
Biggest thing I want you guys to do is take one thing away from today and make sure you implement it in your life.
100% directly resulted in me getting an internship offer.
Gabriella, thank you so much for coming. Why don't you introduce yourself? Really appreciate having you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I was so excited for this. So yeah, as you said, I'm Gabriella Baylock. I'm currently a sophomore studying mechanical engineering at Embry-Riddle in Daytona Beach, Florida. And basically right now I'm focused on, even though I'm mechanical, kind of like that aerospace manufacturing kind of path, and just kind of like networking, growing connections, trying to build those like technical skills to really help me stand out and hopefully get an internship this summer, next summer, and then be successful in my career.
Awesome. Yeah, and like one of the biggest things I saw is your online presence and your brand. That's obviously something we talk a lot about at Formula One with our clients and everybody else watching. You should make sure that you have a good brand or figure out what the next step is for you. Definitely take a look at our profiles. But Gabriella, I saw your brand, I got it pulled up. Like it's really cool. You have an awesome header, you have lots of experiences, lots of engagement, lots of posts. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and what drove you to maybe start making sure that you have a brand?
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I put a lot of time into my LinkedIn. Some of my friends call me the LinkedIn girl. There's people on campus, they'll just be like, "Oh my gosh, you're that girl from LinkedIn." And I'm like, maybe I am. Yeah. But basically, I had a mentor back in high school. So I've actually been on LinkedIn since junior year of high school because of a mentor that told me to get it. And ever since then, I've just been kind of trying to grow my connections and basically just kind of post in a meaningful way. And it's not always like, as of recently, I've kind of shifted. Like, I post accomplishments and things to be noticed by like certain companies and people that I'm interested in to kind of get that side, but then also trying to post things that are helpful for other students. Like I just posted there's LinkedIn Premium free for a year for college students. So like just trying to be helpful. So I'm trying to like switch that so it's not just look at what I'm doing. And then also too, definitely getting a good like professional photo. Just make sure it's like on point with your brand. So like think about like where you want to go, what you want to do, the kind of people that when they see you, they're gonna stop and be like, "Oh my gosh, she is at F-135 as her background. Maybe she wants to work for like Pratt Whitney or do something, with F-135s. Let me connect with her."
Yeah.
Um, and then just like the more that you do, that kind of goes into your like header and your like about you section. Just make sure to be authentic. Just be yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's what people are looking to see. And I can say that I've been trying to comment on other people's posts more because that's also how you get noticed. And it just kind of shows like you're paying attention, you're interested, you're staying engaged with what everyone's doing. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I
100%.
would say for that.
I love it, right? And it's definitely number one respectable, and that's obviously what kind of attracted us together for sure. But also,
Yeah.
everybody watching, right? The biggest thing with some of these interviews that we do and some of these videos, and just anytime that you look at kind of developing and mentoring or investing in yourself, like watching this right now, make sure you get something out of it. You can definitely learn a lot out of it, right? Just wherever you're at in your journey. If you're a student, if you're an intern, or if you're a full-time engineer too, the journey doesn't stop there, right? So like throughout this whole process, just take something out of these and apply it. Otherwise, it's just entertainment, right? And that's cool, but why don't we also get something out of it? So, number one, Gabrielle, again with the brand, like it's really important. It's really cool. I'd like to segue a little bit into some of the previous internships you had. Maybe you can talk about your journey so far, your favorite parts about it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So actually, I've kind of had, I guess, two different internships. So talking about networking, I had a professor back in high school, and he connected me with a local architectural woodworking company. And it was so cool. I worked there for 2 summers. I would work from 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So it was like I was working with carpenter, like union workers, and I was up in engineering. So it was a really awesome experience, kind of just, it wasn't totally related, I guess, to what I was trying to do, but it was all in the same
Yep.
way. Um, and it was really great because building interdisciplinary communication and skills. So being able to like work in engineering, talk to project managers, talk to union workers was such a really great skill that I learned literally in high school. Just being able to communicate to all those different people so they understand what's going on. That was definitely really helpful at that internship. And it was really cool because I literally just showed up and like I met it was a smaller company, so I met with the owner and he was like, "We've never had an intern before." And fun fact, I actually followed them on LinkedIn and they were doing some sort of project. And I commented, I was like, "Oh, I saw you guys posted that. That's for blah blah blah." And he was like, "How did you know about that?" So I kind of got the internship because of LinkedIn and being engaged with the company. So kind of tying back to what I just said, you
Nice.
know, people appreciate when you care about their
Yep.
company or what they're doing. They really appreciate that.
Let's
So
let's
yeah.
pause on that really quick, and then we'll keep going for just for everybody watching, right? To kind of just take a step back as far as like what this looks like and with where you're at. So number one, you were intentional, authentic, and you actually cared. So like that's the biggest thing, right? And a lot of people
Yeah.
miss that. A lot of people, I think, and especially students, as we're looking through this, sometimes we're just like a little bit too hungry for an internship or the next opportunity, as far as like, okay, like we just need to make this happen, get paid, or whatever it is, right? Like whatever your desire is, that's making you kind of operate out of scarcity. That's like the biggest thing I see, right? Because then we're not able to harvest some of these authentic moments, right? Because that's like a nice, authentic, genuine moment where you
Mhm.
actually cared, you went out, you were intentional, trying to do the extra thing, but also just being yourself, right? And like I
Yeah.
think a lot of, again, for everybody watching, if you're struggling to find an internship right now, take a step back. Number one, make sure you're looking for something or you're actually invested in this for the right reasons. So once we're
Mhm.
clear on that, then all this kind of genuine, authentic, going out, reaching out, planting seeds and being able to harvest them exactly like you just did, that's when it really happens, right? Because that's like a unique moment that you're only going to find if you're trying your best and you're kind of at like the highest standard you can and you're always growing. So I just wanted to touch on that really,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you can feel free to jump
Yeah.
there or just keep her going because you got
No,
a little.
that's
So,
no, that's great. I was gonna say, adding on to that, so my second internship that I had last summer at Jacobs, I actually got that through the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers conference.
yep.
It was in Anaheim, California.
Okay.
So kind of playing back to what you just said, a lot of people I noticed like in the lines in front of me, they would just walk up and be like, "Here's my resume," and then just kind of give their spiel, you know? And so it kind of goes back to being genuine and building meaningful connections. So those people were like normally told to apply online. But my approach was I was a freshman at the time, freshman in college. So I was like, if I get an internship, great. But if I make a bunch of connections, then that's even better for future reference. So I would just kind of go up and treat it like a conversation because at the end of the day, recruiters are just people. So I would ask them, like, hey, what do you do at this company? And then they would tell me, and then I kind of tie that back into my little spiel of what I was trying to do. Be like, would you mind looking at my resume? And then it kind of flows more naturally instead of just like I desperately really want this job or this internship or whatever. So I definitely really liked what you said there. I think that's
And
that's definitely really important.
even
Yeah,
more so with that, I'm sure everybody's told you, oh, you can't get an internship your freshman year, right? I'm sure everybody
you
said,
can.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like
you
it's
can.
one,
I did four interviews actually, and I got an offer in Anaheim. So I'm a huge believer. If you walk in with confidence and just be yourself and be authentic and genuine, you can make it happen.
I
Yeah,
love it.
totally.
Awesome. Well, so I mean, we talked a little bit about your internships, right? I definitely want to talk about maybe a little bit more in the journey, but I want to touch on maybe your experience in them, right? What did you
Hmm.
what did you do to make yourself stand out? Maybe what did you see other interns do that was not the best, right? Maybe just talk about the intern experience a little bit.
Yeah. So I would say going back to Jacobs, so at the end of my internship, I sent out like kind of like a form asking for them, like all my managers to give me feedback throughout like things I did over the summer. And my boss, she told me, she was like, communication is so important. She said I did a great job because what I would do was I would reach out each week and be like, hey, this is my plan for the week. This is what I'm doing. So managers appreciate when they don't need to keep track of you. They're like, she got her stuff. She knows what she's doing. If she needs work, she's going to reach out to us. So that was definitely a really big thing being in the internship, like once you get it, kind of really setting yourself apart from other interns that might just be unsure of what they're doing and kind of that. Um, and then I would say also too, just being able, like the willingness to learn, they can teach you technical skills. Like I went in and I didn't know any of the softwares at the first internship at Giffen. I didn't know Microvellum, I didn't know STAD. I knew AutoCAD, but that was kind of it. They taught me all of that. And so like they can teach technical skills, but they can't teach communication. So as long as you're communicating properly and you show that you want to learn and you want to be there, I feel like that already sets you apart.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 1,000% right. Like that's the biggest thing. A lot of people only focus on technical skills as far as, going through school, and that's the reason they think they're not getting the internship. Again, and I
Hmm.
mean, I mean, this is also what we focus on at Form One is the interpersonal side of things. Just like you said, the technical things, I'm not concerned about because you're going to learn that more so on the job than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, some stuff applies, some of it doesn't, but if we can't get our foot in the door, it doesn't matter anyway, right? So just like
Yeah.
you said, communication is super, super important because especially with this upcoming age of AI and everything. I mean,
Hmm.
nothing's going to replace this. Nothing's going to replace you talking with people. So it's still going to be the number one most important skill, right? Because
Yep.
a lot of companies, a lot of people rather hire someone that can learn technically, like that's cool, and it can operate like very well communicatively versus only being good technically. Because then they're not going to be a good team player. They're not going to boost the morale of the team. They're not going to boost the culture. And if all that stuff is down, the mission, the company, the project, whatever it
Yeah.
is, the program, they're like that's not going to move forward. So super important. So I'm glad you brought that up. Obviously, that's super strong for you, and that's one of the biggest things too. Is like to get your foot in the door, right? Everybody watching, take that, right? Apply all these things. You're obviously a great speaker as well, Gabriella. So I definitely respect
Thank
that.
you.
I mean, it's all important stuff, and obviously that's led to you getting to where you're at. So thank you for all
Hmm.
that input on the internship because taking again everybody 10,000 foot view where you're at, apply one thing here. So super cool.
Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit to maybe maybe the interview process inside of the internship and how that looked, right?
Hmm.
So number one, you got it through the conference, right? So walk us through, you had the conversations and then talk about the next steps and what led to these interviews.
Yeah. Okay, so basically what happened was they were kind of like at the conference. I mean, there were like 15,000 people at this conference. So basically what I had already done was going back to that you're interested in what the company's working on. I had in my like padfolio, I had notes for each company. So I already had like I know you're working on this project and this is how I feel I could contribute. Like you're bringing yourself into it, but you're also highlighting something that they're working on. So that and like just being genuine, those two combinations really set me up to get interviews. So then basically, like, once I got into the interview, it was just kind of like they asked me some technical questions. Um, it was just kind of, most of them were very surprised that I was a freshman. They all didn't believe that I was a freshman. They were like, that's crazy that you're here right now. That's great. Um, but yeah, and then I would say another thing too is just kind of like I don't know, the one guy, it was funny. I went to an info session that he had done and I met him earlier in the day and then I went back later and I like waited in line to talk to him and he remembered me. So just being memorable
Yeah.
also, you want them to remember you for the good reasons, like be like, "Oh, I remember her from earlier." She waited in line to talk to me. So like I would love to give her an interview. I would love to learn more about, how she can help and whatnot. Um, so those were kind of the things that I did. And then also too, just like I think also don't pretend you know something. It's okay to not know everything. 'Cause like just don't make something up. Just be honest.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think that's definitely a big thing too. Like if they ask you something you don't know, just be like, I really don't know, but I would be willing to learn more about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and the funniest thing I say with that sometimes when I talk with people like prepping for technical interviews or something, like
Mm-hmm.
in no engineering situation are you gonna be holding a rocket and for them to ask you to do a thermodynamics equation while you're holding it, right? So
Yeah.
like that's what I like to say. It's like just
Yeah.
like you said, if you don't know it, but make sure you get back to them,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's a big thing.
Yes.
Make sure you follow up,
Yes.
you'll learn on it, then follow up, right? A lot of people don't do that either. So I mean that's super
Yeah.
important. Why don't we,
Yes.
all right, so we've kind of covered, maybe, your introductory to internships, your interviews, where you're at, how you stood out. So we covered a lot of
Mhm.
good things, but what got you into engineering in the first place?
Yeah. Okay, so actually, crazy story. So I was originally going to be a civil engineer as
Mhm.
of last semester. I just changed my major to mechanical engineering. So I'm originally from Pittsburgh, the city of bridges. So it kind of makes sense why I was like, oh, let me do civil engineering. And I always loved like STEM, math, science, all that good stuff. I was part of first robotics back in high school, which was kind of more mechanical. And I actually had a few mechanical engineers. They're like, because I would thoroughly explain like the robot and our systems and all that. And they're like, what major are you? I'm like, I'm civil. And they're like, what do you mean you're civil? You should be mechanical. And here we are. Now I'm in college and I changed my major. So I think I came down to Florida and it's just kind of infectious, you know? Like we just had the Daytona 500, the Thunderbirds were flying, the C-17 was here, the rockets are taking off, and then you're just kind of like, wow, that's so cool. Oh wait, I could actually work on that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my whole journey for how I ended up here and how I ended up getting into mechanical. Um, but it's kind of cool having that civil background because you have to, depending on what you're doing, I mean, you also might have to work with like different disciplines and different kinds of people on projects. So I feel like it's definitely nice having that understanding of
Yeah.
a different field. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. And then I mean, I've seen the Thunderbirds as well a handful of times, so I definitely resonate with
Yeah.
the excitement of it. It's like super cool. And then the fact that we are actually able to work on stuff like that is really, really cool. So I definitely
Hmm.
resonate with that. So you talked about this journey, right? So I also want to talk about
Yes.
your leadership journey because you do have a leadership,
Yes.
don't you? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. Okay, so I had a few leadership positions. So actually it started back in high school. The same professor that introduced me to the owner of Giffen, he told me about this event. He's like, I have this event. It was called the Women of Pittsburgh event. And so basically it was about empowering girls and women in my high school to pursue whatever. Originally it was just engineering,
Mhm.
but we had a lot of biomed students, so I wanted to expand. So it turned into just International Women's Day celebration. I would have this event. I would randomly message 7 women from the Pittsburgh area and ask them if they would come in. So I ended up reaching out to like tons of women all over and being like, "Hi, we have this event. Would you like to come?" So I planned the event 2 years in a row. The first year we had like 100 girls attend. The second year we had like around 200 girls attending. And it was an awesome event. Like they learned about, there were women that had their own companies, there were engineers, there were doctors, there were firefighters. Like it was basically like if you didn't feel inspired and empowered by the end of the event, you
Yeah.
know. So that was kind of how I got into planning and leadership. So then I come to college and I ended up joining SHPE, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, because my RA encouraged me. So I started as the event coordinator because I really wanted this corporate relations position, which is basically where I'm the connection between us and the corporate partners and getting sponsorships, having events on campus, basically doing like resume, interview prep, all that good stuff. So I started as event coordinator. I planned our annual gala. We had like around 150 people come to that. And then I ended up winning to get the corporate relations position. So it was really great. I ended up stepping down because I'm actually planning on joining some technical clubs here on campus. And I'm also part of the NASA L-Space MCA Mission Concept Academy now. So I'm kind of like, I guess, being more intentional because I have a lot of leadership skill, but I really want to get back into, I guess, that first robotics feeling with like some of the technical clubs here on campus.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that was kind of my leadership journey.
Cool. Yeah, no,
So
and
yeah,
and the problem when you're that good and you have a lot of opportunities coming your way is that you have to start figuring out how to be intentional, right? So like that's super cool.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, no, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Like taking that step, whatever you feel is going to be the best for you. That's typically the path you need to take. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
You're always going to have a lot
Thank
of
you.
things come as well. So I mean, again, for everybody watching, right? If you're kind of in the position where you're, struggling to get an opportunity to come your way, like we've been there, we understand. I mean, I've been there, I get it, right? And then that kind of goes back to what we were saying, operating out of scarcity. Just start identifying and kind of looking at what has led to this point, and maybe identify a different change you need to make to kind of change your path or go down a different path. That's what I'll say about that for those watching, to kind of debrief a little bit. But now getting back to you, Gabriella, we talked a lot about
Yeah.
where you're currently at, right? What was the hardest thing that you went throughout all of that?
So I would say probably the hardest thing was definitely changing my major because I'm one of those people. I'm like, you know, I got it all figured out. I was like, I'm gonna do civil, I'm gonna get into structures, I'm gonna get a nice job. And then saw fresh like last year, last semester, I just have this like, am I supposed to be doing civil? Like it's almost like a crisis here.
Hmm.
And so then I just kind of had to like take a step back. And normally what I do is like I kind of reflect. So I actually spent like all last summer and like last semester, I was like thinking about changing my major. So what I do is I end up reaching out to people. So go on LinkedIn. I kind of look for some people, and I ended up getting basically rejected from most of the internships that I applied to because I was a civil engineer. So in
Hmm.
my mind, they were like, if you were mechanical, you totally get this. And I'm like, well, then maybe I need to be mechanical because I'm not aligned with where I want to be right now, which is okay. So just kind of like trying to find people and like talk to them. So I ended up like doing coffee chats or like just communicating with people on LinkedIn, like what's your day to day like? Kind of what are the things you do? What kind of do you specialize in? So like building connections, networking, and trying to like figure out, I guess, what path I wanted to take. Because people are normally pretty happy to help you if you approach it in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what, yeah.
What was your kind of
I,
method to help build relationships with people? Or how
so
do you?
normally what I so yeah, so normally what I do is on LinkedIn, normally I send like if I can, because I know it limits you if you don't have premium, but adding a little note when you send a connection request with someone, so it's not just like you're another number I'm adding to my LinkedIn following count. It's like I actually have a reason for why I'm connecting with you. It kind of makes it more intentional, not just, oh, that looks cool. Let me just click on it, and
Yeah.
add this person. And then I would say too, like talking to professors and whatnot on campus, like people know people. I like in general, it doesn't really matter who it is. Like someone might know somebody that might know someone that can help you.
Yep.
And so just kind of like if you have some sort of thing you want to learn, put it out there because I'm sure someone would be happy to help you.
Cool. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super critical, important stuff. So kind of looking back a little bit as far as, again, like your whole journey, where you're at, what's something maybe you wish you would have done? Or like if you look back and kind of maybe told your younger self, or like 2 years ago, like is there anything you would have done differently, or maybe you would have enhanced?
So I would definitely say back to like joining a technical club. I feel
Hmm.
like it was really great being part of like getting that leadership with Shep and whatnot. But I think joining a technical club, I might have ended up finding out that I wanted to do mechanical sooner
Yep.
than like last semester because I would have been part of that. And I feel like I might have switched my major sooner. So I would definitely say, because now kind of looking at it, I feel as though I don't have as many, I guess, because technical skills is certain people that maybe like, I don't know, like Baja or whatever, like clubs freshman year, and now they're like a team lead for those clubs.
Hmm.
Um, so I would say getting into that, but I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
And I'm currently finding my way. And like I said, being intentional with where I'm spending my time, what clubs and things I'm giving my time to. So I think, yeah, that's what I would probably say.
100%. I love it. Cool. Now, so now let's start talking about the future, right? So We talked about like
Yeah.
where you're at. We went through all this, but like what are your next goals? What's next for you? I mean, we talked about so you're going to be part of NASA L space, right? Then you're going to be joining those clubs. But what's even further on the horizon for you? Are there any targets? What's your strategy? What's your goal? Just lay it all out.
Yeah. Okay, so I would definitely say a big thing for me, aside from engineering, is I really want to get into creating content. So I ended up creating a documentary for my rhetoric class last semester, and I did it on LinkedIn.
Cool.
And so I connected with this guy that I've been connected with for a while. He works at LinkedIn. He's worked there for 18 years. I interviewed him. I interviewed another friend of mine that used LinkedIn to leverage it to get internships and jobs at NASA, SpaceX. He works at Blue Origin now. Like he's literally worked at all of them. He just
Yeah.
like bounces back and forth. So a great person to interview. And it was like more storytelling because like I interviewed students on campus. And so basically just kind of I realized that I guess my insights might actually be beneficial and help people, which was why I ended up getting corporate relations in the first place. It was because I wanted to help people with their resume and help people like basically be successful and find success. So I would definitely say creating content and putting myself out there is a big thing that I want to do. And I would say probably landing an internship. I really want to work with the F-135s, so potentially something with Pratt and Whitney. I've been networking with a bunch of people there, so definitely something with that. And then I don't know. I mean,
Sounds like
looking
a lot already.
further,
Sounds like
yeah. I
a
mean,
lot of big goals and stuff. I love it.
yeah, I mean, it was actually awesome. So I don't know if you know who Daniel Roth is on
Mhm.
LinkedIn. So he's basically the chief editor, VP for LinkedIn. I actually cold messaged him my documentary. He got back to me last night, like a month later. He sent me like a connection request to talk to this other lady that helps with like early career stuff.
Mhm.
And so like that's just kind of how it works. But so basically he shared my documentary with like his colleagues and stuff. Like I guess what I'm saying is put yourself out there because it doesn't really matter who it is. Like you just kind of I guess I have this mindset of like you just deserve to be there. You deserve to talk to those people. You deserve to be
Yep.
in that room having that conversation. Just because you're like a freshman and a sophomore, you think you're not experienced enough, like just putting yourself out there, I think is just great. Like,
It's
yeah.
100% of the shots you don't take, right? So that's
Exactly.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Cool. Well, let's kind of close out a little bit as far as right. Maybe, some students are struggling to find an internship right now. Maybe they're, lost or they're trying to figure out what's next for them. Like, what would you do
Hmm.
if you were them? Really quick, and then we'll kind of end with that. Then anything
Yeah.
you want to close out?
Okay. So actually, I mean, I am them because I don't have an internship secured yet for this
Mhm.
summer. So I would say I know a lot of people get really hard on themselves and they're like, what am I not doing? What am I doing wrong? Why did they not want me? And it's like you just kind of have to take a step back. Basically just kind of, I guess, look over your resume. Honestly, what I did, like, I have people, so just like ask them for a resume review. Like, just go back to what I said with networking, reach out to people and be like, hey, like this lady at L3 Harris, like, I met her and I was like, hey, would you mind if I send you my resume? And she reviewed my resume for me and then connected me with some other people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't think about it in a negative way. Think, okay, well, what can I do to maybe grow and expand? So if you like need to learn technical skills, if you need to like you're not a good communicator and you want to get better at that, like think about what you're not doing and then go and try and fill that gap in this time. So like don't think of it as like, oh, I don't have an internship. Think of it as like I don't have an internship, but you know what? I'm going to use this time to grow and meet people so that next summer I'm going to get an amazing internship. And I'm not going to have to apply because I'm going to know this person and they're going to be like, "We have this great connection. Let me, see what we can make happen here." So yeah.
Gabriella? It's been a blast. This has been amazing. Everybody watching, I'm sure you've gotten so many awesome golden nuggets and a lot of advice. Feel free to drop, in the comments your biggest takeaway, what you're going to take action on. Follow Gabriella's journey. She's going to be doing some awesome stuff. So stay tuned, guys. Gabriella, thank you so much for coming yet again. And go form a win, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.